Hey ho there, dear friends. I hope that all of you are having a great day. It is Tuesday, and it is the last day of June. We're moving into my birthday month, which is July. You know, I say that like I'm really excited. I'm not really excited to be another year older, but I've taken like the whole getting older thing as a personal challenge, and I just finished a nice little yoga workout. So I also, you guys, to be, for complete transparency, I just took a 15-minute rest, which means I closed my eyes for 15 minutes. My days have been starting at 5:30 in the morning because it is super hot here, and I have an unair conditioned space upstairs in my house, which I love my space. But, when it gets really, really hot, it gets really hot. So I have my lovely oscillating fan going on. I am going to put that baby straight on me and try and stay cool while I do these videos for you guys. I got 4 new journals to go into the shop, and we will go through these so you can see exactly what they look like. Let me grab my ruler over here because these are fat babies, and that reminds me of a funny story. This one is about 5 inches thick. They are, okay, so these are soft cover journals, so you can kind of see the way that they sort of collapse. They kind of get all snuggly with all of their papers and things to play with and signatures and all that. They also kind of tend to collapse on the spine. This doesn't have any bearing on anything. It just is like what happens when you put a whole lot of stuff in a journal. But hey, what's the point in having something if it's not stuffed with fun, right? So we've got a sweet little bead strand for you. Actually 2, of course, bead strands, the way that we do our wrap binding. So let's take a look and see what we have in here. We start with a great little journal prompt that says, I am strong. And it's got a little felt butterfly on it. Someone made these for me, so they are quite precious. I really like just like the whole purple pop that we have going on here. And then we start with our first signature. We've got a 3x3 mini journal here. Lots of things for you to create with, create upon, art trading cards, art trading coin blanks, lots of magazine imagery. This is from a history book, so some of the imagery is a little bit disturbing there, but I believe this was during it kind of looks like it might have been the Alamo, so I don't want to incite anybody. It's some more imagery there, but it's really super cool. The whole history of it is really neat. We have a bit of blue right here for you, so I'll just kind of tilt that so you can see this blue that we're working with here. Each page is a call to you. It's up to you. It's up to you how you use your book, whether you write in it, whether you prefer to just pull things out. Like this is everything in the book can be pulled out and worked upon separately. We've got synonyms and antonyms for you, a little bit of fabric right here with this wonderful, I'm sure this is around 1910, it looks like 1910 to me, photograph of a family. We've got fabric here for you to play with. We've got a super cool image right here. Everything is curated, so let's just kind of look at this. So we have a map page, we have a Japanese page. When we could go places, it was fun to go places. We're not going places anymore, but we can always kind of travel in our imagination. So we have a bit of ship paper here with our navigation wheel. Okay, that word's not coming to me right now, but you can see how these things go together. You have more map imagery here, a little bit of National Geographic is just so gorgeous, is it not? You know, the photography, I love the articles, I love the expansiveness of National Geographic, because it really does give you a sense of the world and the animals of the world and the people of the world, and how, you know, the history of each section of the world and continents. It's just such a wonderful way to, since we can't actually go anywhere, to kind of see the world by looking at National Geographic magazine. This was a fun little thing to put together, because this is a mixed drink. We've got sunglasses down here, a plane ticket, and I thought that the words travel planning assistance would be fun, just to imagine that you might be going somewhere quite soon. This is from the 1993 Farmer's Almanac. It's called A Passion for Peanuts, and we have a few peanuts on the food imagery. You guys know how much I love food photography. I just so dig it. I think it's so much fun to look at and just imagine the effort that goes into photographing food in such a beautiful way. So I have lots of things for you to have fun with. Our first cluster is our mermaid cluster. Let me get my notepad. Hold on just a second so I can get our clusters together for you. This is Coastal Mermaid. Now, if you guys have seen, I will put an iCard in the video, like up here, and then that way you can see what is inside the clusters. A creative cluster kit is just that. It is a kit for you to pull out. You can use it as a jump start in the morning. You can use it as a warm-up. You can use it as a cool down at night. You can use it when you are like lost and you don't know what to do next, and you're tired of pulling out all your stuff, and you just want something, you know, that is already curated, already put together. The clusters are really carefully arranged for you guys. So, you know, when you see the thing, it's like my friend Casey says that they look like a party. She was like, your books look like a party. And I'm like, they are. So you can see all of the things that you have to create with here. And, you know, just the look of it should be inspiring. Just the sight of it should really kind of ignite that creative energy that we all have. But let's face it, you know, sometimes that creative energy, it gets a little tired, and it gets a little unfocused. And I think that's when something that is curated is super helpful for people who are crafters and who want to kind of create all the time, you know, as much as we possibly can. We've got a sea turtle here. This is a map of Washington State. We've got a little art trading card that says blessings. Vintage hymnals. This is actually vintage hymnals from a book called Men's Get Together Songs, the songs you love to sing. This is one of my favorite pieces, you guys. This is 1853, a report, an agricultural report to Congress. The paper is amazing. It's super old. I'm amazed that the paper still looks like this. So there must have been something, you know, some degree of preservation that went on in Congress in 1853 for this to look so incredibly good. We've got some, now these, this is a new thing, you guys. This is something I've been experimenting with, and I made 10, and I thought, well, you know, we'll just put those in that new batch of journals. It's collage, but I'm using fabric and paper and then a little bit of jewelry on them, and they're turning out really good. I do have a sewing machine. I do like to sew. It's just not something I'm comfortable with. I think that a lot of the reason that I don't sew is because I don't have a proper setup. You know, I don't have a sewing machine, desk, table, whatever. which is, that's not like a big deal, but I think that it's something about, you know, the proper alignment. I'm not able to sit up straight. I have to kind of hunch over to use the machine where I have it sitting, and I don't want to kind of put it anywhere else. I'm just going to leave it where it is. But anyway, so, you know, if I'm not sewing, then I am experimenting with adhering fabrics to paper in all kinds of new ways. This is a cluster called Road Trip, and it has all kinds of little bits and bobs. You've got art trading cards to play with. You've got some sweet papers, map imagery, flying imagery, world imagery, map imagery, border strips, all kinds of fun things to kind of challenge your creative energy. You know, it's fun when you can get out a cluster and you go, okay, I'm just going to use this. It keeps you from, you know, I'm a big proponent of flow. To me, flow is all about movement. It's not just a mental movement, but it's physical movement as well. So you're creating this flow energy as you are working on a piece. It's really fun to challenge yourself to just use what is in this little package and see what you can do with it. And I said little package, but they're kind of stuffed as well. I think that if you're going to do this, then stuff it full of fun things, right? I've spent each night, I'm trying to, Chris has been home, so I've been spending time with Chris at night. You know, we do fun things, like last night we watched Antiques Roadshow, which is kind of one of our favorite things, and we always like to compare the prices, you know, on things and see how much something has gained in value or lost in value, so it's always really interesting. But as I cannot watch TV, just watch TV, I have to be doing something. So I've been doing a lot of fussy cutting, and I'm just having a great time downstairs. I usually try and process one magazine or like a quarter of a book, or, you know, I'm doing something every night. And it really does, it really helps me feel a lot more productive. Plus, it's a lot cooler downstairs than it is up here right now. I am digging on some craft paper, y'all. I'm thinking about how similar craft paper is to one of the favorite things that I worked with for totally years was when I was not buying any paper, was paper grocery bags. To me, those were just fun to play with. Another little glued together fabric cluster. It's got a little rhinestone on it right here. When you look at the books, you will also have a sense of story. And I always encourage you guys to really read the books. They're very educational. You know, you can pull out portions of the books and use it for Happy Mail. There's just like no limit to what you can do with these flow journals. I wanted to see, yeah, okay. So this is our step back in time. You can see the foot notepad right here that inspired this. This was inspired by Miss C. She sent me postcards. She sent me old photographs, which are just amazing. So this is step back in time. You know, as we think about, you know, our history, and I'm trying to pop this to the top so it won't be so squishy in there. We think about our history, we think about our family history, we think about our roots, we think about our ancestors. It's an interesting time to just think about things like that, you know, with everything going on. My roots are Native American. I don't call it Native American. I'm a Cherokee Indian. That's where my roots are. And I have some Spanish blood, so it's very, very interesting. This is a 1950s Singer sewing manual. And I can look at this and I see my mother-in-law's house. I see her chintz curtains. I see her counterpane here. I see her floors. I see her tables. you know, she just had such an exquisite house, and it was not a big house. It was so tastefully done, so beautifully decorated. I miss my mother-in-law. She was an awesome person. Michelle sent us some cheese labels. I'm so excited to have these. She is a cheesemonger, and I love getting those labels because, I mean, there's like no limit to what you can do with those things. And you know, you can't walk in Michael's and go, hey, I want some cheese labels, because only Michelle has them, man. So cool. Again, more from the Singer Sewing catalog. This was Singer Sewing how-to book. This was a book that was not only about how to design dresses and formal dresses and everyday clothing, but it really did delve into covering furniture, covering sofas, doing slip covers, things like that. So it's a very, very interesting book, a super vintage book as well. You know, you just look at these colors. Honestly, Chris has a desk like this from his grandpa, probably one of the only things that he has from his grandpa, who passed away several years ago. You guys have probably heard me tell the story of Chris calling as they were clearing out his grandparents' house, and he said, I love this clock, like clock radio here, you guys. Called me and said they're throwing away all of everything in Bob's kitchen. He was like, you know, those iron skillets. I was like, you bring that stuff home. Pyrex dishes, you know, yeah, bring it home. Throw it away? No. And let's please. There was this little thing going around on Facebook that said, write a horror story in 6 words. And one of them was, someone washed Grandma's iron skillet. Someone washed Grandma's iron skillet. Scrubbed. Anyway, it was 6 words that had to do with that. And it was like, oh, don't ever do that. This is a creative cluster called Dark Botanical. Got some very rich purples, pops of gold, just some deeply dark botanical kind of imagery going on there. Just remember, this book is nestled together. You've got a lot of hairy paper clips to play with. Our next journal, this is the last one. I thought that I was finished with this material, that I had this fabric that I had to bump out last week. And then I remembered that I had one more piece, so I bumped that out. So the very last of that fabric. Also want to thank, big thanks to Miss C, because she sent us fabric. The first journal was covered in her fabric. I am so excited to have some fabrics and to actually have like big swatches, you know, instead of those wee tiny things that I ordered that I thought I was getting bigger, but they weren't. So we've got a bead strand here, got some sparkles on that bead strand, wood as well, lots of hairy paper clips here. Remember, this is a soft cover journal, okay? So it kind of collapses on the spine, kind of nestles together. This is a thick baby. She is about 6 1/4 inches. When I ship these to you guys, I squash them down. I put fabric, I wrap them in fabric so they really stay still as they are on their way to you. So let's see what this baby has to offer us. Nature's always lovely, invincible, glad. Whatever is done is suffered by her creatures. All scars she heals, whether in rocks or water or sky or hearts. And this is a bookmark, and the quote is from John Muir. That's right. You know, it's been kind of fascinating to watch nature and how she has just completely healed herself. The waterways are clear. The canals are clear in Italy. The oceans are feeling better. The skies look better. It's just been a very refreshing thing to see how Mother Nature really has healed herself. And she can heal us as well. We start out with, this is Nature Walk. Now, it's all about an Edwardian lady taking a country walk in country lanes, and you can kind of see how things kind of flow in you know what, this is not, no, this is, I'm sorry folks, this is Step Back in Time. When I flipped it over and saw the handsome dude in uniform with his sweetheart, I knew that that was the wrong thing. So this is Step Back in Time. And you've got your 3x3 mini book. I think it's really fun, you guys, to take the imagery from here and use it in your 3x3 mini book. Maybe you could just go ahead and create a cover. Maybe that's a project that you can do for yourself. We've got a little card here that says throw kindness around like confetti. That's such a nice thought now, you know, to just be able to do one small thing for people, one tiny thing. Doesn't have to be some huge donation or some huge step, or, you know, it's just the small things. It really is the small things that truly do count. I love the way this little chippy came out. It says happy, and it's got a little bit of sparkle to it. This is one of our this is from a book called Better Homes and Gardens, Success with Houseplants. To me, this whole thing is just absolutely fascinating. This is about the ponytail palm, or the bottle tree. I believe I had one of those when I was a young wife. I believe that we had a bottle tree. Don't quote me on that, but I think that that's one of the things that we had. A beautiful piece of vintage hymnal. I really love these little pages because it's from the book All About Birds, but there's a really super cool little line up here that says there's no place like home. Yeah, no place like home, my friends. I love my home. I love my home, but it'd be okie dokie to move somewhere else. I'm so curious that I don't mind, you know, the thoughts of leaving where I am to start all over in someplace new. That does not bother me at all. I love the fussy cutting that I've done the past week. This is Road Trip, the creative cluster kit that we have going on there. I was reading Maisie Dobbs the other night, and it was like, holy cow, because her mentor is Maurice Blanche, and Maurice was talking to Maisie about picking up books, letting them fall open, putting your finger on a page, and then pointing to a sentence, a statement, a word, and allowing your thoughts to kind of surround that word. Now, my finger landed on the word horse. So I love horses. My farmers have horses. My farmer's wife has 5 horses. It's really fun to go to their house because it's always a treat to like go by there and see their horses and see them out in the field and prancing around. And you know, horses have big personalities. They're big animals. They have great personalities. You know, you would think that something that big would like maybe not have quite so much of a personality, but they really do. It's really kind of amazing. This is the Scout's Oath. So this, I believe, is from a Boy Scout book. We have March and April for you, along with some map imagery. Now, I did fold this little frog's legs kind of back, but I thought the frog, again, you know, with the fussy cutting, really was super cool, especially if you mount that frog on this brown tag board right here. I think that that would look super neat. We've got some old car advertising for you. Cars, man, hasn't that really been amazing? This again is from the history book. I believe this is an Indian right here, and he actually is on a horse. Another one of the fabric pieces that I've been working on. They're so much fun, y'all, and it kind of gets me, honestly, when I know I have to sew something, I get stressed. And it's just so silly. And one of these days, I'm going to get over it because it's so silly. It's like that big canvas thing. And if you followed me for a while, you know that canvases terrify me. I'm real scared to work on a big canvas. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I love the way all the purples were kind of coming together right here. This is our dark botanical kit. It is heavy on the purple, but we really did make that work for us. We've got a little fabric seagull right here. Tell the story. I love to think about, you know, our story and how different our stories are, y'all. And we need to embrace that difference. We don't need to be fussing over it and whining about it and being offended by it. You know, we are all different. We need to find some harmony in our lives. This is a super cool, again, from the Singer Sewing book. Now, these are chintz covers, but the lady of the house has actually made these slip covers for her furniture and kind of changed the flow of the room, the color of the room. You know, we think about things like that, and I know you guys know about planned obsolescence because I've talked about it before. The way that furniture is manufactured now, it's only manufactured to last a short time, and then you're supposed to ditch that furniture and buy new furniture. That's planned obsolescence. So I'm sure that we've all had the experience of when something breaks and the part to fix it costs more than the whole thing bought anew, right? That is a type of planned obsolescence as well. So, you know, we were in a time where you used it up, you wore it out, you made it do, or you did without. And that the Singer Sewing book really does kind of take you into that world because it lets you see how women were using their sewing skills to not just improve their families, the way their families dressed, but they were using them to improve every bit of their household. And I love things like that. You know, you made your own curtains, man. You didn't go to Target and buy them. You made things yourself. Now think about that. If you are making something yourself, it becomes a precious commodity. It is your work that made those curtains. You know, it is your work that made your child's dress. So I think that we've kind of gotten away from that concept. I know that we've gotten away from that concept, but I do think that, you know, we're enjoying a resurgence in that sort of thought form. We've got our Coastal Mermaid Creative Cluster Kit here for you. This one is called Bright. This is the one that my friend Casey says looks like a party. It does always look like a party. It looks like a party in here every day. I'm so lucky. We've got maps of Oklahoma. I have a friend that lives in Tulsa. I remember going to Tulsa. I remember going here and coming into Tulsa. And it was absolutely beautiful because we were on the road at night and we could see the lights of Tulsa. And we were above, we were in a van, we were above the actual city of Tulsa. It was very, very pretty. I love tablescapes. I love the flowers. I love the glasses. I love the flatware. I love the plates. I love the teacups. It's really my thing. However, I don't eat like that, but I really, really appreciate it. I don't think there's anything prettier than to kind of, you know, when you think about the small treats that you can give yourself. Do you have placemats? Do you have nice china? You know, maybe that's something that you can kind of get out. Now, this is about making rugs. So this lady is using her stitchery skills to actually make rugs for her house. Amazing. Look at that. So super cool. You know, maybe that's just a small thing that you could do for yourself. Maybe that is, you know, we're kind of restricted in those big treats we can have. You know, we can't take big trips. We can't go big places. We can't go visit people. But, you know, maybe it's time to kind of rediscover the finer, small points of life. I think that would be a noble endeavor. If I had some placemats, I would probably use them. but we tend to not do that. Sometimes when Chris would go on a big trip, I would do that. I would get out I have 4 plates that are really pretty. So I'd get out my plates and I would have dinner at the table. But you know, sometimes things like that aren't a lot of fun to do by yourself. But you know, are you ever really by yourself anymore? You can always, like, maybe you could challenge your friends and do a Zoom thing, and you could all like show off your tablescapes. I love these beds. This is probably a guy and a girl's bedroom. You know, we didn't picture one bed. We pictured 2 beds. Remember, Leave It to Beaver, the mom and dad had separate beds. So separate beds were a, you know, that was a big thing. That was a moral thing, right? I think that I Love Lucy. Remember I Love Lucy? Ricky and Lucy had separate beds. This is I think this is Nature Walk, my friends. Yep, that's Nature Walk because it does have a little feather in it. And again, I will put a link to our 6 new creative clusters so you guys can see what's inside a creative cluster. Thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. I hope that you have a beautiful Tuesday. I will get these books in the shop a little later on today. Have a great one. Keep cool, keep sane, keep safe, keep healthy. See you later.